네, 3교시 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 네, 계속 이어서 우리 research writing 계속하도록 하겠습니다. 이번에는 우리 이민아 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 이민아 양, 네, 박수로 맞겠습니다.
I have written a research report based on the result of the study on the effect of the use of online English learning programs on the academic performance of learners. Some of the sources of this research data are Chungbuk National University Graduate School of Education. Unlike in the past, English learners nowadays can learn English in various ways through learning sites on the web, even if they do not visit English-speaking countries due to the development of the internet and computers. Like this, the educational use of computers and the internet is being treated as an essential element in modern English education. This study aims to analyze and verify the effect of online learning programs on English learning by examining how online learning programs affect learners' learning performance and affective attitude toward English. The limitation of this study is that the number of sample groups is small and the age is limited for students at this university, so the result of this study may vary depending on the characteristics of the sample group. In addition, since this experiment was conducted over a short period of time, different research may be derived if repeated instruction is conducted through various methods over a long period of time. 6 test subjects were given autonomous learning hours and homes other than class time, allowing them to prepare and review through their learning site and program. As a result, the use of online learning sites and programs has had a positive effect on the English learning achievement of learners. The increase in self-efficacy of learners through online learning has contributed to raising students' interest in English. After online learning, both students' self-efficacy and interest in English increased. If you use online learning site well, you will be able to continuously improve your learning achievement level. Finally, this study was done in a short period of time with a small number of people, and the effect was lacking in reliability, so more long time and sophisticated experimental studies are required.
오케이, 땡큐 민아 양. 네, 우리 민아 양 충북대 교육대학원의 우리 연구, 우리 영어의 온라인 프로그램을 사용하면 영어에 어느 정도 효과가 있는지를 조사한 그 연구를 찾아서 우리 결과를 소개해 주었군요. 좋습니다. 우리 상당히 긍정적인 영향이 있다. 이렇게 연구 결과가 나왔다고 합니다. 네, 좋습니다. 네, 우리 미나 양 실제 연구 논문을 찾아서 우리 잘 전해 주었습니다. 좋습니다. 미나 양 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. Thank you, 미나. Right. 김나은 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 네. 박수로 받겠습니다.
According According to the report by Statistics Korea, the suicide rate among teenagers in Korea is 3.5 per 100,000 people, ranking second in the number of deaths between the ages of 10 and 19. Among them, the suicide rate among middle and high school students is 6.2 per 100,000 people, the highest among OECD countries. While there are reports of high suicide attempts by teenagers with drinking and drug abuse problems or under peer pressure, studies show that 3/4 of those who commit suicide suffer from depression before committing suicide. In addition to these personal factors, parents' discord, divorce, disconnection, and physical and sexual abuse at home are also cited as causes of youth suicide. A study on the predictors of the suicide impulse of teenagers in Korea showed that life stress has a high level of explanation for suicide impulse, and among the lower factors of life stress, academic stress is the strongest factor to explain suicide impulse, indicating that stress on youth studies leads to suicide impulse. This is also shown in the relationship between the academic performance of this study and the idea of suicide, and it was analyzed that the students with the highest grade were significantly more likely to commit suicide than those in the low grades. According to a survey conducted by the Korea Youth Counseling Institute on youth suicide, 79.5% of the respondents said they needed help before committing suicide, but there was no one to discuss the issue. The recent surge in juvenile suicide is not just a personal physiological problem, but a serious social problem. Therefore, more active support and policies are urgently needed to reduce suicides among middle and high school students. In other words, active counseling and preventive education are needed to prevent youth suicide at the school level. The biggest influence on the idea of suicide among middle and high school students was depression, and the mental characteristics of middle and high school students, such as stress and awareness of the degree of happiness, greatly affected the idea of suicide. Therefore, in order to prevent suicide of middle and high school students, it is believed that a mental approach that allows them to feel a sense of physiological stability and emotional comfort is needed, and it is necessary to introduce active arbitration measures. If school and families prepare and implement active programs to manage the depression and stress of middle and high school students in the future, it will greatly contribute to preventing suicide of middle and high school students.
네, 땡큐 나은양. 네, 우리 티네이지 수이사이드를 조사해 주었군요. 네, 정말 우리 OECD에서 가장 높고 우리 공부에 대한 부담 또 결과 이런 거, 특히 공부 잘하는 학생들에게 이 자살 충동이 더 심하군요. 네, 우리 적극적인 상담도 필요하고, 우리 전반적인 그 상황을 잘 조사해서 발표해 주었습니다. 네, 정말 이 부분이 참 걱정되는 부분입니다. 네, 제가 유학 시절에 유학을 간 첫 해에 한 교수께서 이 한국의 자살률이 굉장히 높다던데 이거를 한번 질문을 직접 저에게 했던 그런 기억이 납니다. 네, 정말 좀 더 다각도로 이런 문제에 적극 좀 대응해야 될 것 같습니다. 네, 우리 나은양에게 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. 네, 우리 자신감 있는 목소리로 잘 발표해 주었습니다. 땡큐 나은. 네, 우리 이유비 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 네, 박수로 받겠습니다.
jams on the highway at least once. So, today we investigated the reason for the traffic jam. We wonder what the car in front of us is doing when there's traffic on the highway. There are three main reasons for traffic jam on the highway. The first is a traffic accident. The second is road construction, or phantom jam without a reason. People don't think there's any traffic jam on the highways because there are not traffic lights and we can speed up on the highways. But even if one car slows down for lane change, the car at the back totally stops. This phenomenon causes traffic jams on highways. There is another reason. Lane 1 says it's only used when overtaking another vehicle. But it's because of people who are still in lane 1. This is a legally forbidden act. And especially these days, people who touch their cell phones while driving can't keep up with the flow of the road, causing traffic jams. I once felt a traffic jam of up to 9 hours because I went home by car every holiday. I felt a lot of traffic congestion, but some of the reasons for the traffic jam I think are likely to be a combination of lane and a decrease in lanes. When vehicles join from other lanes, of course the speed is slowed down, and even if one lane is reduced, traffic jams occur because many vehicles gather in narrow spaces. To prevent such traffic jams, first of all, unnecessary stops and lane changes are not required. Second, when there are many cars, use driving lanes rather than overtaking lanes. Also, the last is to maintain a constant vehicle interval. Thank you.
네, 유비양, thank you. 굉장히 재밌는 주제를 조사해 주었습니다. 네, reasons of traffic jam. 그래요. 일단 accident, 그렇죠, construction. 네, 그 다음 또 핸드폰 사용자, slow driver, maybe, 네, 운전 초보. 네, 여러 가지 이유가 있죠. 네, 참 가끔씩 네, 어처구니 없이 이렇게 트래픽 잼에 걸릴 때는 정말 네, 궁금하기도 합니다만은 네, 우리 아주 재밌는 주제에 아주 일목요연하게 잘 조사해 주었습니다. 네, 우리 유비 양에게 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. 땡큐. 우리 고향이 좀 멀다 보니까 9시간까지 걸린 적이 있군요. 네, 참 아주 좀 힘든 그런 네. 한 번은 저도 저희 동네에 새로 난 고속도로가 있어서 굉장히 빠를 줄 알고 네, 탔다가 그 구길보다 더 막히는 이런 아주 어처구니 없는 상황을 한번 경험한 적이 있었습니다. 그래서 정말 이 멋진 고속도로, 새로 뚫린 고속도로가 무색할 정도로 네, 하여튼 그랬는데 알고 보니까 네, construction이었습니다. 네. Anyway, 아주 흥미로운 주제 좋습니다. 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. Thank you. 자, 이번에는 이 채용량으로 한번 가볼까요? 네, 채용량. 네, 박수로 받겠습니다.
Hello everyone, it's getting cold these days, but are you taking care of your health? Getting a little bit more serious these days. It's not a good situation, but I hope everyone finishes the year end well. Today, I'm going to introduce you to the topic I usually wondered about. The theme is, why is the trend going around? In my home main room closet, there were about 3 or 4 clothes my mother wore when she was young. The clothes my mother had were mainly white pants and floral patterns dress. When I was a child, I saw these clothes and thought, how did you wear those clothes? However, years later, floral dress began to be in a fashion, and so did white pants. I didn't know that the white pants would be so fashionable, and I didn't even think I'd wear them. And I started wearing the clothes that hang in my mother's closet for a long time. When I went through these things myself, I was so curious about why fashion was turning. While searching for the topic of fashion, I saw the word retro marketing, which is that this marketing strategy is also causing fashion. So from now on, let's look at retro marketing. Retro marketing is that reinterprets past products or service according to the taste of current consumers and utilize them for marketing. Retro can give the feeling that it is old, but it can give nostalgia and comfort to the generations who enjoyed the time. And it can give freshness to the younger generation as if they are experiencing a new culture. Retro marketing using this isn't just a way to sell what was popular in the past, but to attract consumers by presenting a new trend with a modern sense. Also, retro has strong heavy strengths. When we meet old things that we have been familiar with in the past but have not seen in the last 10 years in a long time, we can experience satisfaction that can't be felt in any latest fashion. For example, a series of drama called Response. This drama also led to the deep sympathy of viewers who spent their youth in their contemporaries because of these heavy strengths. I have been looking into fashion and related marketing, and there are many other interesting things besides the above, and I want to look into it if I have another chance next time. Thank you for your time today.
네, 땡큐. 재영양. 네, 아주 재밌는 주제를 찾아주었습니다. 네, fashion trends. Why is it turning back? 그렇죠? 네, 왜 돌고 도는지. 네, 우리 또 어머니의 실예를 들었군요. Floral, 네, pattern and white pants. 네, 알고 봤더니 retro marketing 전략이었다. 그렇습니다. 네. 좋습니다. 네, 참, 좀, 이게 결국은 버리지 않고 잘 보관만 하는 것이 관건인 것 같습니다. 네. 네, 우리 굉장히 재밌는 주제. 네, 좋습니다. 우리 채영양에게 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. 땡큐, 채영. 네, 이번에 우리 신혜인 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 신혜인 양, 아이고, 네, 좀 아쉽게도 네, 음성 지원이 되지 않습니다. 우리 안희영 양은 어떤가요? 네, 우리 안희영 양도 보니까 네, 음성 지원이 안 되는군요. 네, 우리 이희진 양으로 한번 가보겠습니다. 이희진 양, 네, 음성 지원이 되는 것 같습니다. 네. 박수로 맞겠습니다.
Good afternoon. Are you satisfied with your life now? These days, a lot of people feel depressed because of coronavirus. So I was curious about how to be happy and I researched it. So I found an article about how to be happy. This explains 4 ways to feel happy using dopamine and endorphin. Dopamine and endorphin are the organ that humans feel happy. Then let's find out how we or depressed people can be happy. Happiness comes from the small things of daily life. Smell morning coffee, lively learning puppies, and the smell of dirty when it rains like today are conditions that make your daily life happy. Or sweat after exercise. We can find happiness in our daily lives like this. you can feel visually olfactory. Rising dopamine levels is one of the ways. So how can we raise dopamine levels? Dopamine can be increased through sugar intake, certain mood-changing drugs, but this is not good because it leads to addiction. Rather, we should raise dopamine levels in a healthy way. Raising the dopamine index in a healthy way is setting a goal. For example, it is better to set a small goal than big goals such as to be rich. If you set a goal and achieve it, the dopamine index will rise. The next way is to increase your confidence. Confidence triggers the secretion of serotonin. Self-confident people are generally happier than intimidated people. You need a more respectful and loving attitude toward yourself, away from low self-esteem and self-hate. Next is increasing dopamine. This is increased by exercising or laughing loudly. It can also be increased by fake laughter, not true laughter. Endorphins also serve as painkillers. You may have experienced the pain disappear after exercise. Sometimes, if you feel depressed, try the method I recommended. I hope the day comes when everyone becomes happy. Then my story is over. Thanks for listening.
네, 땡큐. 배신양. 아주 중요하고 흥미로운 조사를 해줬습니다. How to be happy. 네, 행복해지는 방법. 우리 세 가지를 잘 조사해 주었네요. 우리 small goal, 작은 goal을 좀 만들라. 그렇죠? 큰 goal 말고 목표. 네, 소소한 거. 그리고 우리 자신감. 두 번째. 세 번째는 exercise. 그렇죠? 세 가지를 우리 연구로 조사해 주었습니다. 네, 요즘 같은 때 정말 중요한 우리 주제인 것 같습니다. 좋은 우리 연구 조사였습니다. 땡큐. 우리 신양에게 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. Right. 우리 민재양 한번 가볼까요? 네, 민재양. 네, 우리 민재양 아쉽게도 조금 음성 지원이 안 되고요. 네, 우리 양마늘양, 민정양도 아쉽게도 우리 코로나 백신 만드는 거였는데 음성 지원이 안 되는군요. 네, 아쉽습니다. 오케이, 우리 신채린 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 네, 신채린 양. 신채린 양은 우리 과제로 왔습니다. 제가 기억이 나는 것 같습니다. 오케이. Abuse of Senior Citizen. 네, 우리 노인 학대 조사를 해줬습니다. 그렇죠? 네. 좀 심각한 문제인 것 같습니다. 네. 박수로 맞겠습니다. 재린 양.
This research is about abuse, neglect, and mistreatment of the elderly living among us. The reason for this research is to let people know about this issue and be more alerted. I think we should think about this matter a little more seriously before this issue becomes normalized and forgotten. This abuse could be happening near us. We should be more aware of it and look into it to stop it happening. Compared to the number of young people, the number of senior citizens these days are increasing rapidly due to low birth age and extension of life expectancy. As the number of senior citizens increases, so does the abuse and neglect of senior citizens. Elder mistreatment means intentional or unintentional actions that cause harm physically and mentally to others. It includes physical abuse, sexual abuse, and all kinds of emotional abuse, financial lack and exploitation, neglect, abandonment, and many more. One study did a survey in America on the elderly and have found that 21.96%, so basically almost 30% of the elderly living alone, experienced one or more acts equivalent to self-indulgence among the total participants in the research. And another survey in Korea got a result that at least 1 of 10 elders suffer from abuse. And also survey results show that a large part of the perpetrators were the family members of or the partners. Places such as nursing homes and long-term care facilities also have a high rate of elder abuse, with 2 out of 3 employees reporting abuse over the past years. For some example of the cases, there are video of a man beating up an elderly at a nursing home, and this video was caught attention to a lot of people. And also these days, due to the corona global pandemic lockdown, a lot of seniors are most vulnerable to be neglected. Not only that, stress that comes with the lockdown has caused violence against the relatively weak people in the household, which are the elderlies. However, the case reported to the appropriate authorities were rarely detected, and only 1 in 24 cases were reported. Of course, each country may have different number of reported cases, but it is much smaller than the number of the problems. Another problem is that even if people report the abuse of the elderly, most victims do not want their perpetrators to be punished because the perpetrators were usually their family and people who they care about, or they do not want themselves and the perpetrators to be known, and they are afraid of the problem getting out. These problems are growing and getting ignored. People need to know before this problem gets more serious. People should know that reporting is help, not interference. Thank you for listening.
네, 땡큐 제인 양. 네, 우리 심각하군요. 우리 시니어, 시리즌, 우리 노인 학대 문제. 한 평가에서는 30%가 경험을 하고 했군요. 또는 10명 중 1명꼴이 경험을 했는데 거의 좀 가까운 가족이나 또 우리 관리를 하는 사람들, 보호를 하는 사람들이 가해자가 되는 경우군요. 우리 좀 관심을 더 많이 가져야 될 그런 문제 같습니다. 우리 신채린 양에게 큰 박수 한번 부탁합니다. 우리 좀 중요한 주제였습니다. 땡큐. 자, 우리 권성경 양으로 한번 가볼까요? 권성경 양. 박수로 받겠습니다.
Recently, we have seen many serious cases of frequent dating violence in our society. The point to note here is that despite the serious problem that occurs frequently, the punishment and the law for this are relatively minor, and social awareness of this is insufficient. Dating violence differs to physical, verbal, and mental violence, and creates inflicted by one side in the process of dating between men and women, including such as sexual assault, intimidation, abusive language, confinement, kidnapping, attempted murder acts. According to data from the National Police Agency, between 2012 and 2017, 467 women died of violent dating violence-related crimes, and for the last 3 years, the number of dating violence reports increased by 41.1% to 4,136 in 2017, 1,671 in 2018, and 9,914 in 2019.
However, the number of criminal charges decreased by 4.3% to 10,303 cases in 2017, 10,245 cases in 2018, and 9,858 cases in 2019. This means that the number of reports cases increased, but the proportion of cases that the police can decide to initiate an investigation is reduced. In this regard, in the case involving dating violence in 2018, the perpetrator was not subject to two criminal charges due to the withdrawal of the victim's report. However, the perpetrator even committed murder despite the victim's favor. In this way, it said that quite often the case is terminated without investigation of the case due to the withdrawal of the victim's report. So, can the crime related to dating violence be terminated with the victim's simple withdrawal of report? According to the National Police Agency, dating violence occurs continuously and repeatedly due to the nature of the intimate relationship of the couple, and the recidivism rate is also high at 66%. In addition, regarding assault, several professors warned that violence is addictive and that if it occurs even worse, there is a high possibility that the violence are already addicted to it. Also, as the intensity of assault is getting worse, the strict dating violence first straggling a lover's list is no longer ties in our society media. Also, when a child bullies you when you are a child, you may have heard the saying that's because he likes you, instead of teaching a friend that bullying is wrong. Ask the bullied people to understand because he or she likes you. As yet, our society has long overlooked the seriousness of dating violence, considering it as an inner affair between man and woman. I think we should now recognize this as a serious social problem, and it's necessary to solve the problem by educating people to have the right provisions with strong punishment.
네, 땡큐 성경양. 우리 데이트 폭력, 데이팅 바이올런스에 대해서 아주 자세하게 연도별로 조사해 주었습니다. 네, 이게 며칠 전에도 우리 뉴스에서 저도 들은 바가 있는데요. 네, 상당히 점점 심해지고 있는 추세라고 하죠. 네, 우리 오늘 중요한 이슈를 다뤄줬습니다. 우리 권성경양에게 큰 박수, 보내주기 바랍니다. 네, 땡큐. 자, 우리 시간이 조금 한정이 돼서 우리 다음 영상에서 여러분들 만나도록 하고요. 네, 좀 정리하도록 하겠습니다. 네, see you soon.